Hello everybody, my name is Dimitris Kyriakou, and this is a quick tutorial on how to set up a quiz on Moodle. For the purposes of this tutorial, I will be using one of my courses, CSE 233, to demonstrate how we can set up a quiz for the midterms and later on the examinations on Moodle. This is based on the tutorial that Lucas and the others already gave us during this week, at the start of this week. So I'm inside my CSE 233 Moodle page, and I have to turn the editing on if it's not on. Then moving on to the corresponding week, I will use week 10 to set up this quiz. Add an activity or resource, and we find the option quiz. Click Add. Name of the quiz, I'm going to set up a mock exam for CSE 233. It's a mock exam for CSE 233. The description is not needed, but if we want, we can have it and display it on the course page. Now, based on the instructions given to us by Lucas and with the others during the tutorials, the timing needs to be set up on when this will be enabled. So the quiz will open up on the specific date and time that you want your students to take the quiz, the exam, the midterm in this case. So for example, if I want this to be open on the 12th of April, for example, at a specific time, 3 o'clock, I can set it up right here. If I want to close the quiz at a specific time as well, which is the duration after the midterm has ended, I can enable it and set it up here. So if it's a 2-hour quiz, I can set it up to stop at 5 o'clock. Okay. When the time expires, we have the default setting, open attempts are submitted automatically, and it's advisable to inform the students that when the time expires, anything they have open up in front of them will be submitted automatically and the quiz will stop. With regards to the grade, we have to change attempts allowed to 1, so they can only run the test once. During the test, they can go back and forth, as it was explained to us, but the attempts allowed will only be 1. So once they submit it, they cannot restart the test. Layout, new page for every question. This is what is advised, and navigation method free. Exactly for them to be able to go back and forth during the test. Question behavior, shuffle within questions. We want that to be yes. That signifies that the answers of the questions will be shown in a different way in case we have 2 students seeing the same question. I'll show you in a later tutorial how we can randomize the questions given to the students, but the answers within the questions, we want them to be shuffled in case 2 students see the same question. How questions behave, deferred feedback, that is very important for them to not see any feedback as they go on. So they submit their answer and they don't get a feedback if it's correct or not. They move on to the next and the next. We get the feedback in the background, what the question, the student answered, and what the question, correct answer corresponding, what the marks will be allocated for that question. Review options. This is something I want to specify. So as we are instructed, we have to uncheck all of this, but you have to go reverse, right? If you uncheck the first one, then you have some things that they are enabled and then disabled. So they are checked, but they are disabled and you cannot uncheck them. So you have to go one after the other from the bottom part up and disable all these. Now, there is a question here. I cannot interact with this. And this is also important. They also need to be unchecked because this is during the attempt of them getting feedback, like whether it's correct and the marks during the attempt. We don't want that, but we cannot uncheck them. The thing is that if you uncheck the rest of them and you proceed to save and return to course, so even though they seem they were checked, once we go back, by the way, I'm gonna also have it here hidden from the students so they don't see it. Right now, that's not available to them. So once I go back to the test, edit settings, you will see that now all of them have been unchecked. Okay, so don't worry if you uncheck the rest of them and you save, those checkboxes will be unchecked as well. Nothing to do here. Extra restriction on attempts. This is important. So we set up the password that is given to them just before the test begins. So I'm going to have test 1, 2, 3. You can verify by clicking that you have entered it correctly. Show more. Browser security, we have been instructed not to use it. In a later tutorial, I will explain how we can use the full screen pop-up with some JavaScript security. It does not lock the screen. I think this is the part that the university would present to us for the final exams. But as we were instructed, we should be set as none. Later on, I'll show you what's the benefit of using this one, full screen pop-up, which doesn't lock the screen, but removes the left-hand side navigation panel and provides the student with the full screen of them to be working out. They can still go around, for example, by clicking the logo there, but they don't see the left-hand panel here, which is very, very useful for them to avoid any mistakes of clicking and then going away from the test. All right. For now, I'm going to leave it as none, and I'll come back to it later on a next tutorial. Overall feedback, nothing to do here. Common module settings. This is hidden from the students. All right, have done that already. And restrict access. This is important. Add restriction. This is where we have to define in case we have people with extra time allowed. We want them to see a different version of the test and also be able to avoid the situation of having to express in front of all of the students that you guys are allowed extra time, therefore you go on that link, and you guys are not allowed extra time, therefore you go on that link. So I'll show this in a later tutorial, but it's important. And I'll go more specifically that the tutorials we had on Monday with specific examples right here. All right, so I'm going to be coming back to that later on. So right now, I don't have any restrictions set. Activity completion, nothing to do here. Tags, nothing to do here. Competencies, nothing to do here. We click save and return to course. So we have now created the test. And in order for us to go and add questions to it, you need to click on it. And then you go here and say edit quiz. Or you can use the button there to proceed and add questions to the test. So once again, if I come back to my front page, the quiz can be edited. The settings of the exam, of the mock exam, the mids and the final, can be edited using this one. All right, so you come back to the settings by clicking that button. There you are. You get all these options once again. And you can save and return to course at any time. But if you want to proceed and add questions to the test, then you need to click on it and then say edit quiz here or edit quiz there. So that's part of my next tutorial. So I'll proceed with the next tutorial later on. Thank you very much.